guys, this is Agrita from Fireman Education, and today we are going to solve a business studies paper from GCSEs. This is the May 2020 paper, which is paper 1, and as you know, the paper is divided into 3 sections, section A, B, and C. For today, we are going to do section A of the paper, and later we'll do the rest of it. So the first question gives us 2 MCQs and a few short questions. The second question gives us 2 MCQs and a few short questions, just like the previous one, and the third question also does the same. So the structure of the 3 questions are pretty much the same, so we're gonna go through it one by one. So let's start. For question 1, it says which one of the following is an example of a reward from the business activity. We have to select one of them, and let's do some trial and error. Financial loss does not seem like a reward, it's rather a risk. Increased overheads, same with it, it's a risk. Independence seems like the correct answer. Let's check D as well. Lack of security, this also seems like a risk associated from a business activity. So our correct answer will be C, which is independence. Moving on to part B, which one of the following is a definition of market share? So let's search for the correct answer again. Now part A, market research that can be collected and analyzed. This does not really seem like the definition of market share, because it seems like the definition of market research data. So this one is gone. And then the proportion of sales in a market made by one business. This seems like the correct answer. Pretty simple. Let's check C and D. The total amount of money from business sales. This is not market research because this is the definition of revenue. And for part D, it is a group of people who discuss their views on a product. This surely is the definition of a focus group. So this is also the wrong answer. For part C, explain one benefit to a small business from having a unique selling point. This is 3 marks, so we need 3 points to score all 3 marks. So firstly, we are going to say why a unique selling point is important, and then 2 other points explaining the benefit. So our first point can be a unique selling point will give a small business a competitive advantage over its competitors because of its uniqueness in the selling point. So our first point is competitive advantage. This will give you your first mark. For the second point, we are supposed to think of any advantage that comes from the unique selling point and how it will benefit the business. So one advantage coming from the unique selling point and a small one-liner analysis of why that is an advantage, how it benefits the business. So try to understand, this is not 2 advantages from the unique selling point. It's basically saying how unique selling point firstly will benefit the business. It will benefit the business by giving it a competitive advantage. The next point will be how so. So how does this competitive advantage benefit the business? So that would be if the business has a competitive advantage over those of its rivals, they will more likely have a higher market share and they are more likely to charge more from their customers, and customers are also likely to buy more from this business because there is their unique selling point which draws and attracts customers towards this business. So our second point can be allows charging of premium price or we can also write attracts more customers attracts more customers, and if you attract more customer, that leads to more revenue. there is that. And lastly, how this point is going to benefit the business. So how this, our second point that we have written, how it's going to benefit my business. So the analysis part, that is, if we have more customers and more revenue, that will translate to a bigger market share. So because of this, the market share of the business will increase, or the market will the business will enjoy a bigger market share, and that is all that we have to write in this answer. So the first point will be identification of one benefit, which is our competitive advantage. How this competitive advantage will allow us to do something which our rivals cannot do, which is we can charge premium price or we can attract more customers. And third, how the point that we have identified in our second bullet benefits our business. So that is bigger market share. Simple. For the third part D, explain one advantage to a small business of using trade credit as a source of finance. So trade credit is basically trade payables in accounting, and it allows us to borrow from our lenders and pay them later without any interest, in contrast to a bank. So firstly, we are going to identify same drill, what we have done over here. We are going to do the same thing over here. Identify one benefit, one advantage of to a small business of using trade credit. So the one benefit in one line is trade credit will allow the small business to buy now and pay later. So our first point is allows to buy now and pay later. This is our one-liner identification of the benefit. Our second point will translate from here to here, which is how this first line, an elaboration of how this first line benefits our business. So this means that the business has a chance to sell the goods right now, gain the cash flow, and then pay its supplier. So the fact that we are buying now and paying later means that allows the business to first sell its products and pay the suppliers later. All right, and the third point will be a continuation of my second point, analyzing why this is a benefit. So how will buying now and paying later, how will first selling my own products, getting the cash from my buyers, and then paying my suppliers, how will this entire process benefit my business? Why should I do it? So this will improve the cash flow of my business. That's it. 3 marks, 3 points, same drill. First point is identification of my benefit. Second point is a further analysis of why this is a benefit. And the third point is how we are going to use this benefit to make better things for our business. Now, I am writing these in terms of 1, 2, 3 points. You will, of course, not write it like this. I'm just trying to save some time and not write the entire answer. You are going to write it as an entire paragraph and entire sentences. Okay, so question 1 is done. Let's move on to question 2. Same drill. First 2 MCQs. So part A says, which 2 of the following are examples of secondary market research? So we're gonna go by our trial and method basis again. We have to select 2 answers. So let's go do that. Part A says focus group. This is not a market, well, this is not secondary market research. Secondary market research means we are doing some sort of market research from data that already exists, right? So primary market research is doing something for the first time, so doing the research for the first time. And secondary means someone has already done something, we have data on it, we are building upon it. So focus group seems like a primary market research because it is starting from the scratch. So not this. Internet. So internet does seem like one of the correct answers. Why? Because internet already has lots of data in it. It's so easy, we can go on to Google and search for stuff, and there are going to be hundreds of results showing themselves up about research that has been done before, about stuff that we don't know or we are trying to search for. So internet is one of the secondary market research because data is already present, we are building upon it and trying to do our research. The third one is market report. So let's go by the fourth and fifth one first. Observation seems like a primary market research because I'm gonna go and observe people's behavior, and that will be the first time I'm doing it, so that's primary. Survey is also not the correct answer because survey, as we know, is the most basic form of primary market research, so that leaves us with market report. Market report is a secondary market research because market reports already exist, we are going to build upon it, we're going to read it and do more research. So my correct answers therefore will be B and C. Moving on to part B, which two of the following are examples of variable costs? So fixed costs do not change with the level of output produced. Variable costs fluctuate with the level of output produced. You just have to remember this. Remembering this, we go on to selecting our answers. Advertising is a fixed cost because it does not depend with our level of output. Insurance is a fixed cost, again, we have to pay it no matter how much of the output we produce. Packaging seems like the correct answer because the amount of output we produce, we have to produce the same amount of packaging materials to package those output, so that's that. And rent is again a fixed cost because we do have to pay rent even if we produce, I don't know, 100 units of output or 1,000 units of output, rent is going to be the same. So raw materials is our second correct answer because the amount of output we produce also affects our raw materials. If we are producing less, we are going to buy less of raw materials. If we are producing more, we're going to buy more. Okay, moving on to part C. This is a 2-marker, just a simple calculation, no words. Table 1 contains information about cash payments of a small business in 1 month. The business sold 200 units this month. All customers paid in cash. So all of these are cash sales. Using the information in table 1, this gives us the selling price, rent, wages, advertising. Calculate the net cash flow for this month. You are advised to show your workings. So firstly, we know that all of these were cash payments. So this makes our job easier. We have the selling price, we have the number of units sold. So we are going to firstly go by revenue, which is my cash inflow basically. We need to calculate the net cash flow. So net cash flow means cash inflow minus cash outflow. So basically net cash flow, NCF, just net cash flow, is inflow minus outflow. That's my net cash flow. So for inflow, we have revenue. That would be 15 times 200 because revenue is quantity times price. 15 times 200, 3,000. Then rent, wages, advertising, we recognize them as expenses, so they are outflows. This is an inflow. Outflows, rent is 500. Oops, let me write it here. Oops, sorry. Yep. Rent is 500. Wages are an outflow again, so that is a 1000 minus advertising is 150. So 3000 minus 500 minus 1000 minus 150 gives us 1350. This is my net cash flow. So it is very straightforward. Just add your inflows, subtract your outflows, you have the net cash flow. Okay, moving on. For part D, explain one disadvantage of starting a small business as a partnership. So we know that partnerships are different from sole traders. Partnerships are also different from companies. Partnerships occur when two or three, or well, more than one person comes together, joins, and starts up a business. So what might be as partnerships has advantages, it also has disadvantages. So for a small business, how might this be a disadvantage? When you are working with a lot of people, or when you're not working independently, you will tend to have conflicts of interest, you will tend to have disagreements. That's only natural. So that's the basic disadvantage. So we identify one disadvantage first. So conflicts, there may be conflicts of interests or disagreements. So there goes my identification of a disadvantage, 1 point out of 3. How will conflicts or disadvantages translate into making life harder for me? So what it's going to do is it will be difficult to come to an understanding, come to a solution, come to make a business decision. So this translates into difficulties in business decision making. Okay, so if there are difficulties in making decisions, if there are conflicts all the time, and we cannot work independently, that will in turn translate into businesses not properly functioning, businesses not being able to meet the needs and wants of their customers. This will also basically increase my costs, but then we can just write one of them. So this will lead to the business not being able to meet customer needs properly, or it will also increase business cost, whichever you pick. So that's it. Same drill. Identify one disadvantage, tell how that disadvantage is gonna hamper the business, and then build on the second point, analysis how that disadvantage is going to further cause problems for the business. That's it. Alrighty, part E. Explain one way the marketing mix of a small business may change due to changing customer needs. So this is also a 3 marker, and we know that the marketing mix consists of the 4 P's. Whenever we hear marketing mix, we think of the 4 P's. That is price, product, place, and promotion. So we have to think of one way that any of the P's is going to be changed if we have customers who have changing needs. So suppose our customers have, well, there is a new trend that is happening, and our customers want a different sort of a product, different from what we currently produce. So that would lead us to make changes to our product. So the first point would be, might need to make changes to our product. Cool. How will that further hamper the business? How might we need to change the product? So if we need to change our product, we need to do more market research. We need to find out how we need to change our product, in what way we need to change our product. So we may need to do more market research. Or we may need to make or delete or add new features to our product. This is of course a little time consuming and adds to our costs. Okay, the third point would mean that since we need to make changes to our product, add stuff to our product, means that we need to change the entire design mix to make changes to our product and therefore meet new consumer wants. So changes to design mix or changes to our products. All right, there you go, your 3 points just like before. So we are moving on to question 3. Same drill all over again. We have one MCQ over here. Yep, one MCQ. So which one of the following is a characteristic of a sole trader? So sole trader is I'm doing my business all alone. It has its advantages. I'm not dependent, but it also has its disadvantages. So they require a business qualification. Every sole trader, every business startup, or everyone who starts a business needs business qualification. It's not just limited to a sole trader. So then part B is they have unlimited liability. This seems to be the correct answer. C is they can sell their shares to raise finance. This is of course not the characteristic of a sole trader because it's a company characteristics. They can raise finance by selling shares. Sole traders cannot, partnerships cannot. They do not employ staff. Everybody employs staff. So that is also not correct. So our correct answer will be they have unlimited liability. So the biggest disadvantage of a sole tradership is that they have unlimited liability. Unlimited liability means that your liabilities are not limited, or the highest amount of loss that you can incur is not only limited to the loss of your business. It can also come in terms of private loss as well. So if a sole trader goes bankrupt and it has loans, the lender has the right to ask for the sole trader's house or whatever asset they have in order to gain their loan back. So their liabilities are not only limited to business, but they also incur personal liabilities. For part B, we have this graph of total costs for May, June, and July. And we are asked to, using the information in figure 1, calculate the percentage change in total costs between May, July. You're advised to. So percentage change, the formula is for any sort of percentage change. The formula we always need to remember, the golden rule, is new minus old divided by old times 100. So the new value minus the old value divided by the old value times 100. So using this formula, we can calculate, so between May to July. So May is our old value, July is our new value, because July comes after. So this means that for July, we can see that total cost is 16,000 minus the old value 10,000. New minus old divided by 10,000 times 100, which gives us 60%. Yep, 60. Pardon me, my mathematics calculations are bad. I need to use a calculator every now and then. So yep, New minus old divided by old, we identify the new, identify the old, make the calculation, and this is 60%. Straightforward. Okay, part C. Explain one reason why new business ideas come about. So we're basically asked to explain why people come about with new business ideas. So the first thing that comes to our mind is why. I mean, if we go back to this answer, I think this answer somehow gives us a cheat sheet because we were thinking why they might need to make changes. New changes means new ideas. So we can build from here. It's not necessary. It just came to my mind. So new business ideas may come about because consumers want change. Consumers want something new. So because of new customer wants, if customer wants change, we need to build on our product and make new changes. So just like we saw in the previous question, what happens is we need to make changes to our design mix. We need to change the features of our product to meet customer changes. So we need to come up with new ideas because the existing products that we have are not satisfying the customers. So existing products are not satisfying customers. And the third point is this means that the owner of the business or the entrepreneur will spot a market gap and then take advantage of it and build an opportunity for itself. So the entrepreneur will therefore spot a market gap and build a new opportunity for the business. Alrighty, let's move on. Explain one advantage to a small business of using market mapping. So just like we said here, market gap. So basically market mapping allows me to spot that market gap. So why do people do market mapping, or why do businesses do market mapping? So market mapping means spotting a gap, and market mapping will allow a small business to spot those gaps and then build on those gaps. So the first point or the first advantage is whatever we said, spot a gap in the market. So the first advantage is we can spot a gap in the market by using market mapping. And how does spotting a gap in the market help me? This will allow me to build the new product that is desired in the market. Or that is not correctly present because there is a market gap. And how will this in turn help me? So we're building upon each point. So this will mean that we will have a competitive advantage. We will have a greater market share because there is a market gap, means the product is not being currently produced. However, the consumers want that product, so we are making that product. When we are making that product and consumers want it, and remembering that the product is not currently present in the market, this means that we will gain a competitive advantage because our rivals are not currently making that product. Therefore, more market share. All right, 3 points, building upon each one, same drill. The last question for section A is a 6 marker. So discuss how the decision making of a small business may be affected by increased competition. So we have to think about a competitive market and how that will in turn affect my business's decision making. So the first thing that we can think about is, of course, the price. So if competition increases, my price making power decreases because there is more competition. So increased competition means more firms are selling or are on the market. So I cannot keep charging a high price, because if I do, people are going to go away from my business and build or purchase products from the other business, which is my competitor. So the first way that my decision making will be affected is through pricing. So increase in competition will affect how a small business charges or decides to charge its price. So first one, pricing decisions. So the first part was identifying one way in which my decision making will change as a business if I am faced with more competition. So that is pricing decisions. So how do we build on it? Basically, increase in competition means that the pricing decisions of the business will change. Business will think twice before charging a price because there is increase in competition. And the second point is, if we are thinking about location, or so firstly, increase in competition in one area will make me more prone to risk if I situate in that area. So basically, if area, for example, area A has a lot of similar firms, then if I start my business in area A, I will be faced with more competition, and therefore I will have to charge a lower price. In contrast, if area B does not have a lot of similar firms like me, I would do better if I settle down in area B compared to area A, because there I will not face that many competition in B. So this brings us to our 4 P's again, the place part. So we are going to think about how increase in competition is going to affect placing of our business, which is the 4th P, place. So we might try to situate somewhere where there is lesser competition. So it will affect where the business tries to locate itself. So we identified one P, which is price, another P, which is place. Now we are going to build on it. So for the first one, let's write it as 1A. So we're building from here to here. How does my pricing change? So increase in competition means I have to charge a competitive price. I cannot charge high or premium prices anymore. Competitive pricing, and this will lead to changes in my market share. Why changes in market share? Because I have new competition and my market share, of course, will not remain the same. It is more likely to decrease. And for 2A, which is building from here to here, how does placing or where I locate, how does that matter? So like I said before, wherever there is competition, business will try to locate in a different place because they will be benefited if they are away from competition. So we will write exactly that. So a small business may decide not to locate in an area where competition is high and try to locate in an area where competition is low. So the benefit is if we locate in a place where there is lower competition, we will attract more customers, and more customers mean more revenue and more revenue will increase and profits will also go up. So the way we structure this answer is basically we are going to focus on two ways that our two P's are going to be affected because of this increase in competition. The first one we focused on was price. So pricing decisions will change. How will the pricing decision change? So identifying that one of the P's that is going to be affected is price, that is pricing decisions will change, will gain me 1 mark. And then building on it, which is the 1A point, that we have to charge competitive pricing or lower prices, and this will lead to changes in my market share. This will give me 2 marks. So 1 plus 2 gives me 3. Now the second point has to be another P, which we picked up as placing. So more competition means it will affect where I am trying to locate myself in the area. So this will give me 1 mark, just the identification, one-liner. And then building on it, which is the point 2A, we said that we will try to locate in an area where there is lower competition, and if we do so, our revenues will increase, more customers and more profits. Writing all of these gives me another 2 points. So 1 plus 2, 3 again. So 3 plus 3 gives me 6 out of 6. So first, if it might look a bit challenging to some people, but if we follow this structure, identification gives you 1 mark, and then building on it gives you other 2. Identification gives you another 1 mark, and then building on it gives you another 2. If we try to follow this structure, then I feel like it's gonna be easier because this has worked for me during my exams. So we are done with section A, and this will give us 35 out of 35 marks, which we want. And that is it for today. We have 2 more sections. These are extracts based and a few longer answers. So till then, we are gonna try to understand how I have structured all of these answers, how I am going to maximize my marks by minimizing the time that I require to write these answers, because in business, time becomes a very big issue. We try to write as much as we can in order to gain the marks, but sometimes we end up not having enough time to write whatever we want, and then the last part of the exam just becomes very difficult to finish and very difficult to write answers that satisfy us. So we are going to basically start from the beginning, not try to write stuff that are redundant, not try to write stuff that might not get us marks, because, well, there is no negative marking, but then if we hurry in the end of the exam, that becomes a problem. So time management is also a part of your exam. So finishing your exam on time is also your exam. So we will try to always stick to the point, because for business, for economics, for subjects like that, it is always managing time becomes a very big issue. I know that. So like this, we will try to divide our points, write as much as we can in lesser words. So I don't know if that makes sense. Write on point basically, and then try to finish the exam. I feel like if you follow these structures, it is going to help you more in the coming days, and for the next time we are gonna finish section B, and the other time section C. So that is it for today, and revise, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.